I'd like to ask you about your electric three-wheeler plans also. There was an electric three-wheeler launch slotted this year. Is it on the cards? When is it expected? And will it be open for exports immediately?
Exports immediately, no, maybe very selectively where there are specific opportunities, such as perhaps in Sri Lanka, for example. But basically the focus is the domestic market, and we already introduced our product, starting with the city of Agra in the month of May. And I'm very happy to say that, I think we did the right thing by waiting to get the product absolutely right, especially in terms of range, because that is so important, obviously, to a three-wheeler operator. And I believe in 2 or 3 months after launch, we are a market leader in that market with something like sales of 300 to 400 e-autos every month, and a market share, I believe, in excess of 50%. The last I heard of that. Since then, we have expanded to some other cities, and we are, obviously going to roll this out first in cities that are ICE restricted. So we are not like going pan-India right now. Currently, if you look at what we did last month, it's closer to 1,500 e-three-wheelers between the e-auto and the e-cargo vehicle. And I'm told by Rakesh, and I believe he shared this on CNBC the last time he was there, perhaps he did, that our near-term goal, by which I mean, again, within this financial year, is to clearly be the market leader in this, as we are overwhelmingly with ICE vehicles. I cannot but mention that in the month of August, the team has done a great job of selling 50,000 three-wheelers in the domestic market, obviously most of them ICE, barring these 1,500. And we are hoping to match, if not exceed that this month, which is again excellent for our financial performance. And coming back to the e-three-wheeler, this would mean that towards the end of this financial year, we have to get closer to 3,500, 4,000 vehicles a month, and then plan again for the next year to take it to the next level.
All right. Speaking about exports, two-wheeler exports have been under stress for the past many months for Bajaj Auto. Do you see them finally turning a corner now?
They have turned around, Parikshit, especially the motorcycles, and the three-wheelers are beginning to as well. As you know, typically, Bajaj Auto exported about 200,000 vehicles a month before export markets have run into the problems that they have. We fell to a low of around 110,000, maybe for a couple of months. Since then, you have seen that in this quarter, we have come up to about 140, 145,000. And again, as Rakesh had indicated, 150,000 plus was on the horizon. Sitting here today, I would like to believe that is a number that we can achieve in October. But I have to say that with the uncertainty still persisting in terms of forex availability, one can never be sure. But we are very, very hopeful that in the next quarter, we will do better than what we have done in this quarter, which I believe is somewhere around 140,000 a month. So it has very much turned around, and slowly and steadily, we are gaining ground again over there. Of course, we never really lost market share, so that's not a concern. But volumes are building up. But in the meantime, the rupee at 83 is certainly giving us comfort.
All right. On a lighter note, while you're working on your business with multiple pillars, of which EVs and alternate fuels are a part, there are some who are talking about ending Ice Age. In fact, referring to your 2-year-old comment that champions eat oats for breakfast, Bhavish Aggarwal recently replied and said that he puts ice cubes in his drinks. How would you respond to that?
Well, Parikshit, you would remember when we met for the Triumph launch, I was asked a similar question that on 5th of July. I said even then, that it is the consumer who gives us the license to make something or takes away the license. It is not Rajiv Bajaj or Bhavish Aggarwal or anyone else in industry or government. So this is what I firmly believe. As for oats, it's funny. It's something I said 2 years back, and it's still hanging in the air. I must say this. I have met Bhavish once. I like his energy very much. So I have positive feelings for him. But I would say this, that sometimes if you don't sound too good, maybe you have a bad throat from taking on too much ice. So be careful how much ice you take on at one time.
All right. And my final question would be about alternate fuel vehicles, Mr. Bajaj. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, in a way, nudged the industry and rather strongly at the automotive convention, the SAM convention, to phase out diesel. He warned that the government could impose higher taxes, and then he said that there is no plan as such, but it was just a nudge in that direction towards moving towards alternate fuels. How is Bajaj Auto embracing alternate fuels? You had been working on a portfolio. There were prototypes being worked upon. Is there something ready that you could unveil in the near future?
So I was not there at the convention, but I did read about this. He spoke about diesel, as I understand, and diesel, as you know, is not a big part of Bajaj Auto. We don't make any diesel two-wheelers. And in our three-wheeler portfolio, say the 50,000 vehicles that I referred to that we made in August, I would think fewer than 10% would be diesel. I would like to say that what Mr. Gadkari said has sparked a very interesting thought in our minds, because he talked about clean fuels. He referred to CNG, he referred to LNG. I would present this data to you that today 70% of the three-wheelers that we make for the domestic market are CNG. And this was not the case just 2 or 3 or 4 years back. And since we are 80% of the domestic market, this means more than half the three-wheelers being sold in India today as an industry are CNG. Now, I don't know what it is for cars and buses, but, you know, with all the communication I see from OEMs like Maruti and Tata in recent months, I get the sense that CNG is becoming really popular there as well. And I would also share one more insight with you that somebody very senior in government pointed out to me that they believe that one of the reasons why E3-wheelers are not more popular than they are currently is because the CNG three-wheeler is very, very competitive. So I would actually really plug for a strong push on CNG because the government is anyway doing a great job of rapidly expanding the CNG network. And if I may say so, I placed this before the FM and her team during the pre-budget discussion for the previous budget, that if CNG GST could be brought to something like 18%, let's say, you know, for petrol, diesel, it's 28%, for EVs, it's 5%. If it could be brought to something like 18%, that would really help because the CNG system cost, you know, as a percentage of a car cost may be very small, but as a percentage of a motorcycle's cost or a scooter's cost is very large. So the very inspiring idea that was sparked in my mind after what Mr. Gadkari said was this, that, you know, why aren't there any CNG scooters and motorcycles? You know, it would be great for consumers because it would cut their running costs by half. So it's like petrol becoming effectively 55 rupees a liter. There would be no concerns about safety, charging range, battery life, etc. Great for the manufacturer and great for the government because you make 18% GST. So I would say that we talked in the beginning about some disruptive action to get the entry-level consumer going again. I think this would really galvanize them if you know, the government would consider some concession on CNG in terms of GST, and if OEMs would develop CNG scooters and motorcycles, I think India can show a great example to the rest of the world once again.
So is there a CNG bike or on the cards, Mr. Bajaj?
I can tell you this, there is no CNG scooter on the cards. But of course, as a motorcycle maker, we are always looking at all such technologies. That's the diplomatic answer I must give you at this time. In the 125cc and above space, as I said, we are already doing well. We hope to do better with all the initiatives we discussed. But the 100cc has been very elusive. And who knows, maybe a CNG Bajaj motorcycle that halves people's running costs would be the answer with a little help from the government.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bajaj, for joining us, giving us an outlook on alternate fuels. You give us a hint that there could be a CNG bike in the 100cc segment coming in from Bajaj Auto, the EV ramp-up plans as well. Thanks once again for being with us here on CNBC TV18.